Picture a spacecraft journeying for months through the vast emptiness of space, facing temperatures colder than the deepest places on Earth, all to reach a distant, mysterious world. Envision astronauts landing on a planet where a single dust storm can block out the sun for weeks. Imagine landing on a planet where the air is so thin, it's like trying to breathe at the highest altitudes on Earth. This isn't science fiction, it's the reality of the Mars mission. Welcome to 10 Facts. Today, we're diving into one of the most thrilling events of our time, the 2025 mission to Mars. This isn't just another space mission, it's a journey that could change the way we think about our place in the universe. We're going to break down everything you need to know about this mission, from the moment the rocket leaves Earth to its landing on the red planet. Whether you're a space enthusiast or just curious about what's happening, stick around because this is going to be an incredible ride. The countdown begins. The journey to Mars starts right here on Earth. Preparations for this mission began years in advance, with thousands of scientists and engineers working around the clock. The spacecraft being used, likely SpaceX's Starship or NASA's Orion capsule, is equipped with advanced technology designed to withstand the harsh conditions of space. Did you know that Starship is nearly 120 meters tall and can carry over 100 metric tons of cargo? That's equivalent to the weight of 15 African elephants. As the launch day approaches, the excitement builds. This mission represents humanity's best effort to explore another world. Liftoff. Launch day is finally here. The spacecraft is perched on the launch pad at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. At T-0, the engines ignite with a force of 16 million pounds of thrust, enough power to lift the spacecraft into space. To put that into perspective, that's more power than 60 Boeing 747 jets taking off at once. As the rocket ascends, it reaches speeds of up to 28,000 kilometers per hour, about 7,500 miles per hour, fast enough to break free from Earth's gravity. This is the moment when the dream of reaching Mars truly takes flight. The long journey ahead. Once the spacecraft leaves Earth's orbit, it embarks on a long journey of about 480 million kilometers, 300 million miles, to reach Mars. Depending on the alignment of the planets, this trip can take between 6 to 9 months. During this time, astronauts will be traveling through the vacuum of space, where temperatures can drop to minus 270 degrees Celsius, minus 454 degrees Fahrenheit. They will live in a space no larger than a small apartment, with only each other and mission control for company. They'll be conducting experiments, maintaining the spacecraft, and most importantly, preparing for their arrival on Mars. Life aboard the spacecraft. Life in space is anything but ordinary. Astronauts on this mission will follow a strict schedule to stay healthy and productive. They'll spend about 2 hours each day exercising to combat the effects of low gravity on their muscles and bones. Without gravity, their muscles could weaken by up to 20% after just a few weeks. They'll also be conducting scientific experiments, such as studying how their bodies respond to long-duration spaceflight. Meals will be carefully planned and pre-packaged, and water will be recycled from sweat and even urine. Every drop counts when you're 55 million kilometers from home. The approach to Mars. As the spacecraft approaches Mars, the crew prepares for one of the most critical phases of the mission: entry into Mars's atmosphere. Mars's atmosphere is about 100 times thinner than Earth's, which makes slowing down a spacecraft incredibly challenging. The spacecraft will enter the atmosphere at a speed of around 1,000 kilometers per hour, and it will need to slow down to just a few hundred kilometers per hour to make a safe landing. This is achieved through a combination of heat shields, parachutes, and retro rockets. The entire descent takes only about 7 minutes. often referred to as 7 minutes of terror. The historic landing. Finally, the spacecraft touches down on the surface of Mars, marking the beginning of a new chapter in human exploration. The landing site will likely be near Mars's equator, where temperatures are milder and solar power is more abundant. The landing area could be Jezero Crater, a site of ancient water flows and possibly microbial life, or perhaps the plains of Utopia Planitia, where vast ice reserves could be tapped for water. The crew's first steps on Mars will be broadcast live to millions of people back on Earth, a moment that will be remembered for generations. Exploring the Red Planet. Once on Mars, the real work begins. The crew will conduct scientific experiments to understand Mars's geology, climate, and potential for life. For example, they'll use ground-penetrating radar to look for underground water and drill into the Martian soil to search for signs of ancient microbial life. They'll also test technologies for producing oxygen from Mars' carbon dioxide-rich atmosphere, using devices like the MOXIE, the Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment. This technology could produce up to 10 grams of oxygen per hour, enough to sustain future astronauts and fuel rockets for the return journey. The challenges of Mars. Mars is a beautiful but harsh environment. The average surface temperature is -63 degrees Celsius, or -81 degrees Fahrenheit, with highs reaching only up to 20 degrees Celsius, or 68 degrees Fahrenheit, during the day. Dust storms can engulf the entire planet, lasting for weeks and blocking sunlight. These storms can lower solar power generation by up to 90%. The crew will need to adapt to low gravity, only 38% of Earth's gravity, and work with bulky spacesuits designed to protect them from radiation. Every task, from setting up habitats to conducting experiments, will be a challenge, but one that will push the boundaries of human ingenuity. Preparing for the return journey. After spending about 18 months on Mars, it's time to come home. The crew will prepare their spacecraft for the return journey, a task that includes producing fuel on Mars. This process, known as in situ resource utilization, involves converting carbon dioxide from the Martian atmosphere into methane and oxygen to power the spacecraft. NASA and SpaceX plan to produce up to 20 metric tons of propellant on Mars, enough to lift the spacecraft off the surface and begin the journey back to Earth. If everything goes according to plan, the spacecraft will leave Mars, travel another 480 million kilometers, and safely return the crew to Earth. The impact of the Mars mission. The 2025 Mars mission is not just a milestone in space exploration, it's a leap forward for all of humanity. The technologies developed for this mission, like advanced life support systems, radiation shielding, and autonomous robots, will have applications here on Earth. For instance, the water recycling technologies used on Mars could help address water scarcity in arid regions of our planet. The mission also serves as a powerful symbol of what we can achieve when we work together, inspiring the next generation of scientists, engineers, and explorers. It's a reminder that our future lies not just on Earth, but in the stars.